What's your flavor? Tell me what's your flavor?
Craig David here.
What are you guys most excited for people to see in this movie?
When he says you guys, is he asking you?
I'm asking both of you. You can answer individually or together.
Well, I tell you what, Mr. Craig David, my flavor when it comes to pop culture is anything South Korean, Chinese, or Japanese. And what does that have to do with Supergirl, you may ask? Well, when I get into today's article today, courtesy of the Hollywood Reporter, it confirms pretty much what we all thought, that the Supergirl movie starring Millie Alcock wasn't in fact directed by Craig Gillespie, more like James Gunn. I know, tell me about it. And if you end up liking this video today, folks, make sure you give it a like, smash that subscribe button like it was James Gunn's stupid mug, and let's get into this video today.
Yes, hallelujah, it's the video show. And now, the man the BBC calls
Jason King on Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Good grief, that's worse than Millie Alcock. Actually, to be honest, I'd rather stare at her face all day than this stupid muggins right here. Now, although this is on that part placed, they actually took the article from the Hollywood Reporter, which now expects you to have ads on your page if you want to read their article. So thank you very much, TPP, and let's get into this. Remember how everyone thought that Supergirl felt like a James Gunn movie? No, it didn't. Well, actually it did, because James Gunn came in and his needle dropped here, there, and everywhere. The Jimmy Eats World, Jew for the acronym, was probably one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. I mean, look, Jimmy Eats World, not a great group. I mean, if you like them, great, but I always thought they were overrated. But a new report is offering a behind-the-scenes look at the creative struggles surrounding Supergirl, revealing that James Gunn's DC Studios became heavily involved in reshaping the film after reported disagreements with director Craig Gillespie. And of course, if we saw that behind the scenes footage, which I got, which is on YouTube actually, where you see James Gunn praising Craig, it's all bullshit.
For me, this is such a cool experience because Craig has been one of my favorite directors for many years. Tanya was my favorite movie the year that came out. And so him coming in was awesome.
The thing with James Gunn, he's a snake oil skin salesman, isn't he? Like, if he sells you shit, you're going to buy it off him because he's going to convince you that it's got potent magical powers. Now, according to the Hollywood Reporter, which is always going to be a great source anyway, studios eventually created its own cut of Supergirl during post-production, brought in several Gunn collaborators, more like interference, and ultimately moved forward with the studio's preferred version of the movie rather than Gillespie's. The report highlights an unusual situation for the new DC universe, which is overseen by Gunn and Peter Safran. Gunn has frequently described the new DCU as being built around stronger creative direction and avoiding the problems that damaged previous superhero fatigued franchises. Well, to be honest, I think that's actually bullshit because, again, if that's the intent of James Gunn, why then does he proceed to interfere? I think, to be honest, when I look at this report, it's like a clash of egos, because maybe Gillespie had something in mind that he wanted to do with Supergirl, but James Gunn thought, oh, hang on a minute, it doesn't quite line up with my vision. And again, I even pointed out in one of my earlier reactions for the trailer, like, why does Supergirl not feel heroic when she's meant to be this mightier than thou super being, right? She's an alien from the planet Krypton, like her cousin Clark Kent. But, you know, we don't see that really exuded in the movie. She just like stands there holding a cable, throwing things around. Millie Alcock, compared to Helen Slater, did not even train for this film. Now, even if she did, where are the behind the scenes videos to show that? But when you see Millie Alcock's petite frame on the screen, it's very diminutive, isn't it? There's nothing like heroic about her. But at least when we saw Sasha Calle in 2023's The Flash, she looked like she had worked out, and I believe she did. She looked absolutely toned to perfection. What a shame we did not get her again. It's such a shame. But anyway, what they say here is, let me get back to the article, folks. Supergirl now raises a complicated question for DC Studios. What happens when the filmmaker overseeing the universe disagrees with the filmmaker hired to direct one of its movies? It is a very good question, actually. Now, the outlets reported that as early as the fall of that year, the studio and Gillespie knew the movie wasn't working. I wonder why. Because maybe the notes fed to Gillespie didn't kind of match up with what he had in mind. Following a December test screening, DC Studios reportedly decided to become much more involved with the project. In other words, they were panicking. The Hollywood Reporter actually stated that the studio decided to take matters into its own hands and took charge of the post-production to make its very own cut. That meant there were effectively two different versions of Supergirl being worked on. The Gillespie cut and the DC Studios cut. Oh, gee, I wonder which one won. Gunn and Safran reportedly brought in Jeremy Slater. Who? I have no idea who that is either. Who THR described as a Gunn favorite to assist with the movie. Slater helped to write material for 9 days of additional photography, while original screenwriter Ana Nogueira remained involved with the process. Because again, if you check out Ana Nogueira and you look at the intent behind James Gunn for hiring her, I wonder why she was untouched. Because James, maybe you should have had a few words with Anna and asked her to write a fucking better script than the shit that she came up with. I mean, maybe you could have done that. Or did you not want to hurt her fifis? And then she in turn will go to HR and say you've been a very toxic white male to her, because that could very well be the case. THR noted that the climactic fight was a major problematic area and was ultimately reconfigured. Yeah, do you know what? I actually want to talk about that quickly, because that last fight scene in Supergirl, and I'm going to spoil this for you folks, whether you're interested or whether you're not, I've got to point this out. So in the third act of the film, Supergirl does something that I never thought she would do. She kills Krem. Why? Because he killed Ruthie's parents. You know, little Ruthie, played by Eve Ridley, who wants Supergirl to help her on a mission to kill Krem. And also because Krem almost killed that fucking crypto superdog of Kara Zor-El's. But she kills, and I didn't like that, because Supergirl, when she has had to kill in the comics, she was either corrupted or it was a different timeline. But like her cousin Superman, they stand for a force of good, not for evil, not malevolency. So I don't get again why they had to make her kill Krem at the end. I mean, you could probably look at it as forced feminism, and in terms of the matriarchy will always banish the toxic male into another dimension, play close attention. That's what I think. I mean, that's how it comes across. So Ana Nogueira, why they haven't fired that woman yet, I don't actually know. No. Craig Gillespie had been working with editor Tatiana S. Riegel, a longtime collaborator who previously edited Gillespie's films including I, Tonya and Cruella. However, Gunn eventually brought in Fred Raskin, who worked on the previous Guardians of the Galaxy films and worked with Gunn on other projects. Do you know what this reminds me of? When Gareth Edwards directed Star Wars Rogue One in 2016, and people weren't apparently happy with that version from Gareth, and they brought in Tony Gilroy to rework some of the script and to shoot some additional scenes. So I do wonder, when I went to the cinema and he saw that amazing scene where Felicity Jones is stood in front of an Imperial fighter looking down on her, and then when he went to watch the film, that scene was nowhere to be seen, if you get what I mean. That was, I felt so robbed of that moment, because I went to watch it at the IMAX and I was prepared for that jaw-dropping scene, and sadly we didn't get to see Jyn Erso face off with that Imperial fighter. That would have been absolutely amazing. But this article is really damaging. I'm not surprised. The two cuts were eventually tested against each other, with the studio version reportedly winning by only 2 points. So what I assumed happened here, they had given out questionnaires to the audience members of the public, maybe WB employees, and they were just giving their thoughts and feelings. I'm not sure how they actually, if it's all done on tick boxes or by verbal answers. I'm not sure. Probably the tick box section actually. The differences were apparently not massive, but DC Studios ultimately decided to move forward with his own shit cut. Again, this is absolutely not surprising. We know that James Gunn has got such a massive ego. I mean, at this point, the man is out of control. He appears on other YouTubers' channels claiming that he watches their stuff. He doesn't. He says it to anybody that is lucky to get about half an hour with the guy. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, he's an all snake skin salesman. He'll just sell you foreskins all day long and he would know what you're buying in the end. And speaking of foreskins, folks, I mean, apart from that, I've been enjoying Landman on Amazon. That's been absolutely fantastic. To see a 51-year-old Alilata get her boobs out is something extremely special. But do you know what? Before I go today, folks, I've actually got a couple of ideas about how Supergirl should be in terms of a live action fare. Hang on a second.
Gotta go. You be good.
Yeah, feet on the ground.
Supergirl?
Believe it.
The one and only. You see, this is the Supergirl that I like from the animated series with Superman, because she was an absolute badass. She had an attitude. And considering that Supergirl was from the animated Superman series from 1996 with Tim Daly as the voice of Clark Kent and Superman, I thought she was absolutely terrific. I love her design here, like how she looks. And to be honest, she's actually got less clothes on in here than what we got with the Millie Alcock version. But do you know what I wanted to show you here, guys, folks? This is, look, if I was doing an alternative version of Supergirl, this is what I would actually go with. Now, you got to kind of stick with me here, guys. This is from a YouTube channel, which I'll link in my video here if you want to go and watch it. But I wouldn't say no to a Japanese Supergirl. And, all right, maybe not the most flattering of pauses here, but at least they've actually got the essence of what they wanted to do with the character. I mean, damn, man, she is hot. I'm not sure what's going on down there. What the hell? Excuse me, Mr. Villain, do you mind if I adjust my panties a little bit before I start kicking your ass again? The voice scenes are actually pretty good. I mean, again, probably less of the screaming love, but we've got the essence of what she's trying to do. Leave it to the Japanese to make their own version of a Western pop culture icon, right? And I think they do a much better job here. Again, goofy-ass villain, I like it, but it makes complete sense. If they released this in the cinema this year, I would have been a lot more hyped and excited for it. But hey, folks, guess what? I've got something else I want to show you. So this is Project Supergirl Part 2. I haven't even seen Part 1 yet. Okay, what are we letting ourselves in for here? Yes, come on. This camera's taking a long time, isn't it? Holy shit. Man, I like their red boots. Oh, hello. I like that super villain there. She looks like a real bitch. So this is from a channel called Wildcat Korea, and this is Superwoman versus Infectron. Let's check this one out. And again, the reason why they're calling her Superwoman is just not is to avoid copyright infringement. Again, it's a little bit strange why they've got Superwoman dressed more like Superman in this rendition, but I don't mind. Okay, great. Let the battle commence. Oh, it was near the end. Let's do that again. Here we go. Okay, I'm paying attention. That's a superhero landing. He looks like Skeletor, doesn't he? What the hell? What I say? They really do take the costumes seriously, don't they? I do like that. But there you go, folks. I thought I'd just highlight these Korean and Japanese renditions, their fan films. They take it quite seriously, actually. And I gotta say, I would have watched any of these over the shit that we got in the cinema. Do I blame Craig Gillespie for the fallout between him and James Gunn over their mixed up visions of Supergirl? No, I don't. I ultimately blame Warner Brothers for hiring James Gunn, who thought he might be the messiah to bring back the DC universe with all the knowledge that he gained at the MCU. But quite clearly, that's not worked out. And I think if Superman, Man of Tomorrow is a big hit for James Gunn, because again, making over $600 million is the new $1 billion, right, in terms of making a profit, then it's going to be a goodbye to him and a hello to somebody else. Or as I've said before, let the DC universe rest for a few good years. Make sure that there are no idiots working at Warner Brothers by that time, or by that time maybe Paramount gets a hold of the characters and they give us something completely brand new and really fresh, and a Supergirl that can kick ass alongside Wonder Woman. You actually could have had those two scream princesses on the big screen kicking ass all over the place. I would pay to see that, as long as you had the right actresses in place for that. And on that one, ladies and gentlemen, if I were you and if you were me, I will catch you catching me for the return of the next video.
Tune in next time, Space Freaks, and hear your doobry go ping in the next gripping installment of
Kung Fu Hot Dog.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, no, I mean, I said to these guys, you know, when we started out, I said, there's a few guys that have just really been supporting the show. I like watching their videos. They're so smart about things. I learn things. I change because of what you guys do. You guys say, oh, it's connected to this thing. And I go, I didn't know that, but I see it. And then it's exciting to me.
Failure is your destiny. You disrespect yourself and your nation. You are made of stupid.
Like and subscribe, or get your nuts Krogan crushed on Kung Fu Hot Dog.